So I want to start out by asking you about the most recent statements from the United States Secretary of State John Kerry. He said, "So far we have seen no evidence of systemic manipulation of the process, but there are disturbing indications that the collation process where the votes are finally counted may be subject to deliberate political interference." We actually just heard a response from the INEC chairman, and he said that there's no hard evidence for the United States to make those claims. What's your response to that?
This is a statement, a joint statement that was issued by Secretary Kerry and Foreign Secretary Hammond. And the evidence is not there. We're hearing rumors and they are increasing. And I appreciate the response that INEC made. If that is not the case, I think that's a good thing. But the statement was issued to preempt any possibility that there's manipulation and to ensure that what has been an exciting time for Nigerian voters, where we have seen Nigerian voters really commit to this democratic process, that we don't want anything interfering and diminishing the important and historic moment that we're experiencing here in Nigeria.
We actually recently spoke with the European Union Electoral Commission's deputy chief observer, and she actually told us that it was too premature for the United States to make those claims. What's your take?
I think the rumors are about town. We're all hearing them, and again, we're not confirming this as a fact. We are making a statement to ensure that the process continues to be one that is credible and that one that the Nigerian people will be proud of. So it's premature to make judgments about the final election, but in terms of the kinds of claims that we're hearing, I think it's important that we get messages out early.
Over the past weekend of voting, there were reports of ballots arriving late at polling stations and issues with the PVC card readers. In your opinion, how well did the elections go this past weekend?
Well, I was one of those observers, and I visited several polling stations. We were at a station where the machine, the card reader, did not work initially, and they were able to get a new card reader in. And once that card reader arrived, they moved very, very quickly. So yes, there were some issues at the early stages of the election, but all in all, it seems to have gone extraordinarily well.
The United States Secretary of State John Kerry actually expressed some disappointment that the elections were delayed and postponed from their initial date of February 14th. He actually said that the security situation in the country shouldn't undermine the democratic process. In your opinion, was the six-week postponement necessary to have the elections go off?
Well, the 6 weeks postponement has happened, and we have seen an election process that went quite well. So I don't think that we can second guess that decision now that the election has happened. We would have preferred, as I know most Nigerians would have preferred, that the election take place earlier so that it would give more time for the process that's going to take place following this. We have additional elections that will take place in 2 weeks for governors, and there's a lot of work to be done to get Nigeria through this process.
We've been hearing a lot of reports about the multinational coalition's military efforts in the northeastern part of the country to take back ground that had been captured by the Boko Haram insurgency. In your opinion, how well is that effort going?
Well, the multinational task force has not yet come on the ground, but I think it's important to commend Nigeria and Nigeria's neighbors who have been involved in the actions against Boko Haram over the past few weeks. And they have had some success, and they've pushed Boko Haram out of some of their strongholds. And I think they did bring about additional security for the people in that region, allowing many of them who might not have voted to vote. Boko Haram did not interfere with the voting process over the weekend.
The United States has said repeatedly that they're committed to having a relationship with Nigeria. Obviously, Nigeria is the continent's largest economy. It recently surpassed South Africa, and it's also the African continent's biggest democracy. In your opinion, what's the future relationship between these two countries going to look like?
Well, we've always had a good relationship with Nigeria. We have differences of views on some issues, but we've been able to work through those differences and continue to build on a relationship that goes back many generations. We are very, very proud of what the Nigerian people did over the weekend in terms of their commitment to the democratic process. You said it all. Nigeria is the largest democracy on this continent. We want that democracy to thrive. The Nigerian people want it to thrive. Our relationship with Nigeria will continue to grow, and I look forward to enhancing that relationship with the next government.